when you are watching this, I hope that when you do, you get very angry, even if you get angry at me. There are some things in this video that would probably piss off a lot of people at me, or hopefully the right people. I will have to tell you that this is amazing how many people are so gullible to such stupidity, and I myself have been pretty gullible to the stupidity. But let's open our minds a little bit and wake up to some truth that might really be there. I'm hoping that maybe you might be not only open-minded but a little more open-hearted too. We need to start cracking down on these things. Now, I want to tell you one thing. I'm not saying that the world's going to end, and I'm not saying it's not going to end. I'm saying it's all on God's time. So we need to start listening to our hearts and what's within our soul and our spirit, and stop being so damn gullible. Because, truth be told, we are the stupids, and we need to wake up. Watch out for the false prophets. They come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ferocious wolves. First ever heard of the Illuminati and what they are capable of, I started piecing everything together bit by bit. Turns out we have been lied to and deceived by our government. But how far does one go to spread lies? And for how long has this deception been going on for? I think to myself, who can I trust? If you can't trust the so-called elected officials, then who? It seems everyone is a liar. The mainstream media are apparently liars, telling us seemingly unbelievable stories, and we just agree with them. The televangelists love telling stories, and sometimes they switch it up a little to get more ratings. Beware of false prophets who come to you disguised as sheep but are really vicious wolves. And we willingly agree with them. They are the pastor, the priest, the rabbi, the reverend, the whatevers. No matter how they teach, it's all based on their own interpretation of the Holy Word. And another thing, how much of the Holy Word is holy? The Bible admittedly had been rewritten and written and rewritten and edited to the editor's approval, but we still believe every word is holy. So even God's true word had been mumbled. The press is interesting when I say that the media can make or break someone. It has been admitted that certain camera angles can either entice you or disgust you. The black and white screen images of people can make a person look dark or bad, or certain facial expressions can make it easier to tell a fake story. In a sense, it's like the press, it's like using the press to make up your mind, telling you what you want to hear instead of what you need to hear, dressing it up with a little background drama, and you got yourself a story. And the more the reporter gets into reporting, the more it becomes addicting, and they need the story fix. Our minds need entertainment, and we have movies, music, restaurants, work, brainwash, the whole 9 yards. We are occupied, sometimes over-occupied. And so we have all these things, false idols, false prophets, false beliefs, and we just agree with it. Looks good. Why not? Jesus then left the temple, As he walked away, his disciples pointed out how very impressive the temple and architecture was. Jesus said, You're not impressed by all this sheer size, are you? The truth of the matter is that there's not a stone in that building that is not going to end up in a pile of rubble. Later, as he was sitting on Mount Olives, his disciples approached and asked him, Tell us, when are these things going to happen? What will be the sign of your coming? That the time's up. Jesus said, Watch out for doomsday deceivers. Many leaders are going to show up with forged identities, claiming that I am Christ, the Messiah. They will deceive a lot of people. When reports come in of wars and rumored wars, keep your head and don't panic. This is routine history. This is no sign of the end. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravenous wolves. Nation will fight against nation, and ruler fight ruler, over and over. Famines and earthquakes will occur in various places. This is nothing to compare to what is coming. They are going to throw you to the wolves and kill you, everyone hating you because you carry my name. And then, going from bad to worse, it will be dog eat dog, everyone at each other's throat, everyone hating each other. In confusion, lying preachers will come forward and deceive a lot of people. For many others, the overwhelming spread of evil will do them in, nothing left of their love but a mound of ashes. Staying with it, that's what God requires. Beware of false prophets who come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are savage wolves. You won't be sorry, and you'll be saved. All during this time, the good news, the message of the kingdom, will be preached all over the world, a witness staked out in every country, and then the end will come. But be ready to run for it when you see the monster of desecration set up in the temple sanctuary. The prophet Daniel described this. If you read Daniel, you'll know that what I'm talking about. If you're living in Judea at the time, run for the hills. If you're working in the yard, do not return to the house to get anything. If you're out in a field, don't go back and get your coat. Pregnant and nursing mothers will have it especially hard, hoping and praying that this won't happen during the winter on a Sabbath. This is going to be trouble on a scale beyond what the world has ever seen or will see again. If these days of trouble were left to run their course, nobody would make it. But on account of God's chosen people, the trouble will be cut short. If anyone tries to flag you down calling out, "Here's the Messiah," or points, "There he is," don't fall for it. Fake messiahs and lying preachers are going to pop up everywhere. Their impressive credentials and dazzling performances will pull the wool over eyes of even those who ought to have known better. But I've given you fair warning. So if they say, "Run to the country and see him arrive," beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly are ravening wolves. Get downtown and see him come. Don't give them the time of day. The arrival of the Son of Man isn't something you go to see. He comes like swift lightning to you. Whenever you see crowds gathering, think of carrion vultures, circling, moving in, hovering over a rotting carcass. You can be quite sure that it's not the living Son of Man pulling in those crowds. Follow those hard times, sun will fade out, moon cloud over, stars fall out of the sky, cosmic powers tremble. Then the arrival of the Son of Man. It will fill. Beware of false teachers, men who come to you in sheep's fleeces, but beneath that disguise they are ravenous wolves. No one will miss it. Unready people all over the world, outsiders in the splendor and the power, will rise in a huge lament as they say, "Watch, the Son of Man blazing out of heaven." At the same moment he'll dispatch his angels with trumpets blast summons, pulling in God's chosen from the four winds, from pole to pole, taking a lesson from the fig tree. Take a lesson from the fig tree. From the moment you notice its buds form, the merest hint of green, you know summer's just around the corner. So it is with you. When you see all these things, you'll know he is at the door. Don't take this lightly. I'm not just saying this for some future generation, but for all of you. This age continues until all these things take place. Sky and earth will wear out. My words won't wear out. But the exact day and hour, no one knows that. Not even heaven's angels, not even the Son. Only the Father knows. The arrival of the Son of Man will take place in times like Noah. Before the great flood, everyone was carrying on as usual, having a good time, right? Up to the day of Noah boarded the ark. They knew nothing until the flood hit and swept everything away. 2 men will be working in the field, one will be taken, and one left behind. 2 women will be grinding at one mill will be taken, one left behind. So stay awake, alert. You have no idea what day your master will show up. But you do know this. You know that. Now, here's the best part. After watching all of this stuff and getting mad, and even if you're getting mad at me, I really don't care. I don't want you to think of me as one. But what if I am? You will never know unless you listen to your heart. God is within you, and you need to listen with that, because it is the most powerful thing. I'm not saying you are God, and I'm not saying I know God. I know God in a sense, spiritually, but I am not God, nor do I ever want to claim the power of God. I just want you to know that I love you as God does, unconditionally. If the homeowner had known what time of the night the burglar would arrive, he would have been there with his dogs to prevent the break-in, vigilant just like that. You have no idea when the Son of Man is going to show up. Who here qualifies for the job of overseeing the kitchen? Person the master can depend on to feed the workers on time each day. Some of the masters can drop in unannounced and always find him doing his job, a good blessed man or a woman. I tell you, it won't be long before the master will put this person in charge of the whole operation. But if that person only looks out for himself, and the minute the master is away, does what he pleases, abusing the help and throwing drunken parties for his friends, the master is going to show up, and when he least expects it, and make hash of him. He'll end up in the dump with the hypocrites, out in the cold, shivering, teeth chattering.